Welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
Today we're jumping into the incredible mind of Sherlock Holmes. We've got excerpts from some classic adventures.
That's right. And we're not just retelling the stories.
No, definitely not. Our mission is really to unpack how he thinks, to pull out those fascinating methods and maybe find some surprising bits of wisdom for you.
We want to explore how he spots truths that are kind of hidden in plain sight.
And how tiny details, things you wouldn't even notice, suddenly unlock these huge mysteries.
Plus, the sheer range of human nature he bumps into. It's quite something.
Prepare for some aha moments, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with maybe the most famous Holmes idea.
Yeah.
You see, but he do not observe. It sounds simple, right? But what's actually going on there? What's the difference for Holmes?
Well, it's really about active engagement versus just, letting information wash over you.
Active engagement.
Yeah, and he shows this right away with Watson, doesn't he, in A Scandal in Bohemia. He hasn't seen him for a bit.
Right. And he just rattles off deductions.
Exactly. He deduces Watson's recent marriage, a bit of weight gain, even that he's back in medical practice.
How? Not by asking, obviously.
No, it's the little things. The faint smell of iodoform, that specific antiseptic,
Yeah.
a little black mark from silver nitrate on his finger, common for doctors then,
Okay.
and even a slight bulge in his top hat where he might tuck his stethoscope.
Wow.
It's not just noticing random stuff, it's connecting those dots, linking them to, well, his vast mental database of facts to build a picture.
A picture of Watson's life, just from those cues. It sounds almost, well, impossible for most of us. What if one detail was wrong?
It's a trained skill, definitely, turning seeing into observing. He does it with things, too, not just people. Like that note in the same story, A Scandal in Bohemia.
The paper itself, how on earth can paper tell you someone's nationality?
Well, Holmes looks closer. He spots tiny details in the watermark. Specific letters E with a G, P, and G with a T, meaning Bohemian paper. A for Agria, a place in Bohemia, and the other letters stood for Gesellschaft and Paper German for company paper.
Okay, so the paper's origin.
And then the way the sentence was written, this account of you we have from all quarters received, it's a bit stiff, a bit formal.
A bit German.
Precisely. A peculiar construction, as Holmes calls it. It shows how every tiny detail, even sentence structure, can be a clue if you know what to look for.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How often do you, listening, really observe the details around you, beyond just a quick look?
That's the challenge.
So we need to observe the details. But Holmes also says something else that seems backward at first. The more bizarre something is, the less mysterious it turns out to be.
Yes. That's such a key insight into his method. He's drawn to the weird stuff.
Why? Wouldn't weird just mean harder to solve?
Not necessarily. He figures that extreme strangeness often points to a very specific, unusual cause. It helps narrow things down, eliminating the common motives,
Can you give us an example of that?
Oh, absolutely. Think about the Red-Headed League.
Ah, yes. The man paid just to copy an encyclopedia.
Exactly. Jabez Wilson's story. To Watson, it just seemed odd, maybe a bit silly. Ridiculously simple, he called it.
But not to Holmes.
Not at all. For Holmes, the sheer absurdity that high pay for pointless work was like a flashing light. It screamed, something else is going on here.
So what were the actual clues he followed?
Well, he noticed things about Wilson's assistant, this guy Spaulding. He was working for half wages, which is suspicious in itself.
Ooh, okay.
He was really into photography, spending time in the darkroom, which happened to be in the cellar, and he kept disappearing down there.
The cell. Okay, I think I see where this is going.
Right. Holmes put it together. The assistant, who was actually a notorious criminal named John Clay, needed Wilson out of the pawn shop for hours every day.
So he could do what?
So he could tunnel from the cellar
No way.
straight into the vault of the bank next door. The whole bizarre league was just a distraction, a really elaborate alibi.
Wow. So the outlandishness was the point. It hid the real, simpler crime.
Precisely. When something makes absolutely no sense on the surface, there's usually a very specific hidden logic driving it.
That really challenges how you think about, well, normal crime. Okay, another case that starts strangely. A lost goose.
The blue carbuncle. Yes, brilliant example. It starts with something so trivial. Peterson, the commissionaire, finds a Christmas goose someone dropped, along with a battered old hat.
And inside the goose.
Inside the goose is the blue carbuncle, a famous jewel stolen from a countess. A plumber, John Horner, has already been arrested for the theft.
So Holmes has the jewel. Case closed.
Oh no. Holmes is fascinated by the hat first. Just from the hat, he deduces all sorts about the owner, Henry Baker, his age, his intelligence, his declining fortunes, even that his wife doesn't love him as much anymore.
Just from a hat.
The state of it. Its size, suggesting intelligence. The failed attempts to hide wear and tear, suggesting poverty but pride. The lack of recent cleaning, suggesting his wife's waning affection. Even tallow stains, suggesting he used candles, meaning no gaslight at home.
Incredible. But how does he trace the goose? That seems impossible.
He works backwards, methodically. He finds Henry Baker through an ad, then traces the goose itself. It's this complex chain.
Like vendor to vendor.
Exactly. He uses a bet, a bit of clever questioning, from the Alpha Inn landlord to a salesman named Breckenridge in Covent Garden Market, all the way back to the original supplier, a Mrs. Oakshott.
So who actually stole the jewel and put it in the goose?
It was James Ryder, an attendant at the hotel where the Countess was staying. He framed the plumber, stole the jewel, and tried to hide it by feeding it to a goose being raised by his sister, Mrs. Oakshott.
But he picked the wrong goose.
He picked the wrong goose. Pure accident. It shows how, well, sometimes the biggest secrets are hiding in the most mundane places. A hat. A goose. You just need to follow the chain.
It's about seeing the connections where others just see random items.
Okay, so Holmes tackles bank robbers and jewel thieves. But a lot of his cases dig into secrets within families, don't they? Deeper, more personal deceptions.
Absolutely. It's not always about straightforward crime. Often it's about reputation, shame, control, the complex dynamics inside a family unit.
Like the man with the twisted lip.
Oh, a classic case of hidden life. Neville St. Clair, this respectable suburban businessman.
He disappears.
He disappears, and his wife finds his clothes near an opium den. But Holmes discovers St. Clair isn't dead or kidnapped. He's actually been living a double life.
As who?
As Hugh Boone, a professional beggar with a distinctively twisted lip.
Yeah.
And the shocking part,
Yeah.
he was making far more money begging than he ever did as a journalist and businessman.
You're kidding. Why?
He'd started as a sort of undercover journalist, realized how much he could make, got into debt, and then found begging was the only way to maintain his family's lifestyle without them knowing the truth. It was all about avoiding shame. Wow. The lengths people go to. It really makes you think, what hidden lives might be playing out behind respectable facades?
And then there's the noble bachelor, another case where appearances are just completely misleading, especially with high society.
Right. Lord St. Simon's bride vanishes right at the wedding breakfast.
Vanishes. Hattie Doran, his American heiress bride. Big scandal, obviously. The police are baffled.
But Holmes figures it out quickly.
Very quickly. He realizes she wasn't kidnapped. She left willingly. Why? Because her first husband, Frank Moulton, whom everyone thought was dead,
Turned up alive.
turned up alive right before the ceremony. He slipped her a note, her comment about Americans not liking claim jumping.
Ah, she wasn't talking about land.
She was talking about herself. She'd already been claimed, married, so she bolts with husband number one. It shows how private histories can just explode into public events.
Especially when status and money are involved. But sometimes the secrets are much, much darker, rooted in greed, control, right inside the home.
Yes. And that raises the question, doesn't it? How far can someone be driven by, well, by sheer malice or desperation, especially against their own family?
You're thinking of the Speckled Band, aren't you?
It's hard not to. It's terrifying. Helen Stoner comes to Holmes, fearing for her life. Her sister died mysteriously, and now she hears the same strange whistle at night.
Her stepfather, Dr. Roylott, a very menacing figure.
Extremely. Violent temper, exotic pets from India. Holmes investigates their old house, Stoke Moran. He notices things that seem off.
Like what?
A ventilator shaft between Helen's room and Roylott's. A bell rope that isn't actually connected to anything. A dummy rope. A bed that's clamped to the floor so it can't be moved.
Clamped to the floor. Why?
And a saucer of milk in Roylott's room.
Yeah.
And a locked safe.
Okay. Milk. A snake.
Exactly. Holmes puts it together. Roylott trained one of his Indian swamp adders, the speckled band, a highly venomous snake.
Trained it. To do what?
To climb through the ventilator, down the dummy bell rope, onto the bed, which couldn't be moved away from under the rope. He'd whistle. The snake would bite the sleeping victim, then return when whistled for. No trace, except 2 tiny puncture marks.
Horrifying. And the motive.
Money. If his stepdaughters married, he'd lose control of their inheritance. He killed one and was about to kill Helen.
Chilling. Just absolutely chilling. The ingenuity is awful.
It is. And that theme of twisted ingenuity appears elsewhere, too, like in The Engineer's Thumb.
Right. The poor engineer who loses his thumb.
Victor Hatherley. He's hired for a secret nighttime job, supposedly repairing a hydraulic press used for processing Fuller's Earth.
But it's not really about Fuller's Earth, is it?
No, he quickly realizes it's a counterfeit coin operation. They're using the press to stamp fake coins. When he discovers the truth, they try to kill him, and he barely escapes, losing his thumb in the press.
It shows how evil can hide behind perfectly ordinary, even industrial settings.
And how cleverness can be warped for truly dark purposes.
Now, one of the really interesting things about Holmes is that he doesn't always just hand people over to the police. He sometimes operates outside the strict letter of the law, doesn't he?
He does, and it's definitely a point of debate. He seems to have his own moral compass.
Which sometimes prioritizes, what, fairness over procedure?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Kind of deeper justice, maybe. Take the blue carbuncle again.
Yeah.
He gets the confession from James Ryder, the hotel attendant who stole the jewel.
Right. So he calls the police.
Nope. He lets him go.
Just lets him go. After he framed an innocent man.
Yes. Holmes believes Ryder is so utterly terrified by the whole experience that he'll never commit another crime. Sending him to prison, Holmes argues, would just harden him, make him a jailbird for life.
And letting him go means the plumber, Horner, gets freed without a messy trial for Ryder.
Exactly. It's a sort of pragmatic mercy, you could call it. Achieving the best practical outcome, even if it bends the rules.
Pragmatic mercy. It's still tricky territory, though, playing judge and jury.
It is, but it's consistent with his character. He does something similar in the Boscombe Valley mystery.
Okay, remind us of that one.
A young man, James McCarthy, is found near his murdered father. Looks bad for him. There was an argument. He had a gun.
Holmes looks deeper.
Of course. He examines the ground, the footprints. He figures out someone else was there. Someone tall, left-handed, who limps and smokes specific Indian cigars.
Very specific clues.
He also picks up on the dying man's last words, something about a rat, and connects it to Ballarat, a place in Australia, and James McCarthy's strange cry of cooey, an Australian call.
So the clues point to someone with an Australian connection.
Yes. It leads him to Mr. Turner, a wealthy local landowner and friend of the family whose daughter Alice is engaged to James McCarthy. Turner matches the description.
And Turner confesses.
He does, to Holmes. Turns out Turner and McCarthy Sr. were partners in crime back in Australia, highway robbers, essentially. McCarthy Sr. had been blackmailing Turner for years. And the final straw was McCarthy demanding that Turner's daughter, Alice, marry McCarthy's son, James, to cement his control. Turner snapped and killed him during the argument.
So what does Holmes do? Turner is a murderer.
Turner is also dying of diabetes. Holmes gets his confession, uses parts of it to ensure James McCarthy is acquitted at the inquest.
But he doesn't reveal Turner's full confession or his criminal past.
No. He keeps Turner's secret, allowing him to die relatively peacefully shortly after, and protecting Alice from the scandal. Justice is served. The innocent man is freed, but not strictly through official channels.
It really raises that question, doesn't it? When, if ever, is it right to prioritize a sort of higher justice over the strict legal process?
It's a question Holmes forces us to confront again and again. Hashtag outro.
So after diving into all these cases, these methods, what's the big takeaway for you, our listeners?
Well, I think it's that the world around you is just packed with hidden stories, with surprising connections. Every little detail, every inconsistency, every seemingly mundane object, it has voice if you just, learn to observe, not just see.
Right. From the type of paper someone uses.
To a battered old hat.
Or a ridiculously pointless job copying an encyclopedia.
Or even a snake disguised as a bell rope. Holmes shows us there's nearly always more going on beneath the surface.
It's about peeling back those layers, questioning what seems obvious, and realizing that sometimes the most ordinary things can be the most revealing.
Or the most deceptive.
So here's something to think about. The next time you encounter a situation that seems perfectly normal, or maybe you hear a story that just feels a little off, ask yourself that Holmes question. What am I just seeing here? And what am I truly observing?
You might just uncover a little mystery of your own.